so many questions. Let's analyze what it all means, what comes next. I'm joined from New York by Michael Wilds, a former federal prosecutor here in the United States. Michael, your biggest takeaway from watching Comey's testimony a few hours ago?
Well, thank you, Asay, for having me. This is the investigation of the investigation. This is a case of first impression for everybody who's watching this. Since Watergate, we've never had such venom in Washington. And I think it's important for us to remind ourselves, yesterday it was Mrs. Clinton. Today it is President Trump. Tomorrow it could be us, civil liberties, where we allow people to have political disagreement and then label it with criminality is unconscionable. And I'm saying this as a former federal prosecutor, as a former mayor myself. I'm a proud Democrat. I'm also Mrs. Trump. I'm Melania Trump's immigration lawyer and her family. I have to tell you that it's an offensive experience for me to see a president being disparaged. We're trying to figure out here whether or not the Russians interceded in our election.
Well,
We're
Michael,
not trying to...
Let me interrupt you for a second. A president being disparaged, I want to really specifically get to what Comey had to testify. Are you taking issue with what he had to say and his claims that the president basically urged him to drop the Russia investigation into former National Security Advisor and Michael Flynn?
The president hoped. He put out a personal prayer. He did not direct it. And mind you, I want you to know the FBI traditionally was directed by the president through the attorney general, who would tell what people would actually be prosecuted, what people they should not prosecute. It's only in recent tradition that the FBI has had this independence. We have to understand, and people have to come to terms with the notion that the president won the election. He should have the people minister in government where he is. Now, he may not obstruct justice, and if there's a bad egg in the team, they should root that out. But this seems to be in the worst calling on both sides, is my comment. Comey's comments and his efforts are, he has a stellar reputation. He served 5 presidents, 2 as director of the FBI and 3 as a federal prosecutor. But he admitted today that he leaked documents to the press to affect a special counsel.
Michael, but he also said of course, this is, again, as Nathan said, a case of he said, but he said the president said, I need loyalty. I expect loyalty. Is that abuse of power?
No. First of all, abuse of power is not a criminal charge. Second of all, it's not obstruction of justice to ask for loyalty.
That's not what I asked. I said abuse of power. I did not bring up obstruction of justice.
I think it's in poor taste, quite honestly, for the president to demand that verbally. But you understand that this man got elected because he shoots from the hip. He doesn't have a well-oiled politician's demeanor. And ultimately, the president is probably going to get either more professional or more delicate about how he approaches people over time, or he won't. But I don't think it's criminal. Look, Asya, the president could have pardoned Flynn. He could have gone to the FBI director and said, I'm pardoning him. Would that have been legal? Yes, presidents do it. It happened with Caspar Weinberger, where President Bush Sr. absolved Caspar Weinberger when everyone thought that it would point in his direction.
So, Michael, do you think this testimony today, you don't think it will affect President Trump in any way?
I don't think it's going to affect him. I think, truth be told, we're out as Americans, as both Democrats and Republicans, to figure out just how audacious the Russians got. And if the president is a little less political or a little less delicate, we know that already. He is trigger happy on the tweets. And I have to tell you, the memos that the director of the FBI put out, I think those should be made public word for word. I think we should see them. We have a right to the entire process. But understand here, the process is so important because civil liberties are here, whether you're a supporter of the president or not. I'm a Hillary Clinton supporter, but this is really a disheartening experience as a former federal prosecutor, as an American, to see the venom on both sides of the aisle. Let's go on with the people's business. This president asked the director of the FBI to tell the world that he wasn't the target of an investigation. He confirmed that today. He was fired at the president's prerogative. It was his right to do that. Every president has that authority.
I think there are still many unanswered questions. We certainly appreciate your
time, Michael. And we'll see them.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, sir.